This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good. So first of all, how was Pesach, everybody?
Good.
How did that go? Let me hear. Huh?
Let's see. So lots of cleaning.
Lots of cleaning. Okay, clean, eat. How about the real stuff?
No,
How about feeling that freedom, feeling that connection with God?
we did. Especially during, while we were telling the story of the Exodus, we were really, imagining ourselves, right? That this was that the Jewish people had an Exodus, but we also have our own personal Exodus as well.
Yeah, many.
So we were just kind of going through some of those different things and experiences in life,
Nice.
and also kind of using the Omer for us to literally prepare ourselves to receive the Torah.
Yeah, that's what we'll talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Good. And the Seders were where?
First night at home,
Okay.
and then the second night we were with
Yes, great. Fantastic. Okay, how'd it go for you guys?
Very nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that. Was my first time,
Uh-huh.
like a present Seder. The last years I was online, and the first night we were at Simone's and Steve's house.
Nice.
It was amazing. We had a lot of insightful moments.
Good.
It was really good. And the
Good.
second night we were at home.
You're at home. Good. With all the kids, how did it work out?
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, all the kids.
I find
Yeah.
always, just me, everyone, right? I find it's a little less stamina second night. Sometimes I feel like you leave it all on the court on the first night.
I get stronger as the night goes on. Esther, for you?
It was beautiful. I mean, from the start of doing the cleaning, I really enjoyed the cleaning. I mean, honestly, it was
You
like,
invited over next year.
Spoken like a true Jewish falabusta.
seriously, because I was thinking, this is chametz. I'm getting rid of these things that are cluttering up and that shouldn't be here. Not that I have that many. Okay, I'm, close to perfection, right? Just kidding. But no, it was awesome from the beginning
Nice.
to the end. It was, and Rabbi, I hid my little 10 packets of chametz.
And how many did you find?
I found 9.
Okay. That's a problem.
So
That's a problem.
Thank God I annulled. So
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And so then I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I did only hide 9. It's hard when you're by yourself. It's like you don't have anybody to check on you. And so the other day I'm in the kitchen and I see this little bag poking out behind the fan on the counter, and sure enough, there it was, the missing.
I think they're going to start to sell like these little, the AirPods. Where do they sell that? You can attach to your luggage.
Yes,
Trackers.
the air trackers.
Yeah.
Air trackers.
Yes.
You have to have little chametz bag trackers.
Yes.
Right.
Such a great idea.
Just for those moments. Yes. Good. Mr. Victor.
Me? Well, it was my first experience, to be honest. And first day was in Absalom's.
I'm sorry?
What's his name? Absalom?
Absalom?
Yeah, and Karen's house.
Nice. Good.
It was one of the best experience ever, and I will never forget. And then the second
Until
night
you got to the second night, of course,
No,
with
no,
me. and
you know
then-
what? Let me be honest. It was different, but
Uh-huh.
it was beautiful, and it really put me to tears the second night because Jeff and his family came
Yeah,
over,
that was
and then
nice.
he's little say that thanks to me, thanks to Hashem more than anything else,
Right.
he's coming back to his roots. So it meant
Nice. I want to be in
a lot
touch with
to
him.
me.
You
Yes.
give me his number. I'll reach
Yeah, I
out to
will.
him.
It was one of the best experience.
Nice.
Although it was for me Pesach, like I said, my first experience, but it was a little difficult because of the kitchen and the cooking and
Right.
So, but next year it's gonna be better.
It's getting better all the time.
Yeah.
That was from Sergeant Pepper's. Nice. Good.
So first night, Mary and I went to my parents.
Nice.
We had, our family's big, the Newsteaders, so you have to go with 2 dining tables. Yeah. And then
You're one of 7, right?
one of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then French cousins came over and we did the service there.
Nice.
Read the Haggadah and she loved it. She was practicing her Hebrew. We gave her the short paragraphs.
Nice.
Yeah, because we all want to eat. So
Don't want.
yeah, and then the second night here, it was
Nice.
great service too.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. And online, how'd everybody do over there?
Hey, Rabbi, can I interrupt you really quick?
Sure.
Would you mind opening the gate for Western Kosher? They're there to deliver the order.
Won't mind at all. Who's going to take the order?
Thank you. If you don't mind bringing it into the kitchen, it's ground beef for Bina.
Okay, just one
I can
second.
leave them out there if you want.
Just
Sorry.
one- No problem. It should be opening right now.
Okay, wonderful. So the driver will probably walk into the shul.
Okay.
He'll just ask where you want it.
Okay. We'll take this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry. Thank
okay.
you so much.
Very good. You could tell them they could bring it in towards the kitchen and I'll open that
I'll
up.
meet him up.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you
excellent.
so much.
Okay. Good. All right. Good, good, good. Okay. Oh, so so I also have a family, Kanai of 7 children. And so we had our 7 children and we had the 3 spouses and we had a boyfriend, please God, soon will become a member of the family, in the not too distant future. And we had 7 grandchildren with us. So it was a full house. It was a beautiful first Seder. Yeah. And what was special, it was also very special for Natalie and I, is when we got home after the second Seder, and that was about, I don't know, about 12:15 or so by the time we got home. So my kids who had the second Seder at home just to spend time, with one another, they don't get to do that often. So they didn't want to come to shul, wanted to be with one another, which we understand and respect. So they were still going. So we sat with them for another couple of hours, and we were going to sleep consistently anywhere between 3 and 4. Yeah. So it was a busy few days. And then over Sunday and Monday, we had Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday, and then Shabbos. And over the course of Sunday, Monday, basically all of the non-Californians went back to their respective places, school, work, home, other families. So yeah, but we were happy to have what we can get, and we don't complain. Yeah. So it was nice.
Well, I have to say, Rabbi, you do a phenomenal Seder.
Thank you.
And this isn't to try to gas you up, but it's very, like you're just really good at telling the story. You make it very, very interactive. Like it's not a boring moment. Even though Seder's long, right? You have a way of conducting your Seder to make it fun. So I learned a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so tonight we're going, well, let's map it out a little bit, guys. Tonight we're going to work on Sefirah Omer. It's outside the kitchen now?
Yeah, but it's being brought into the tent fridge.
Oh, okay, it went to the tent fridge.
Yeah.
The tent was open, it went in there.
Apparently, if not, we'll find out.
Okay, good. Okay, so Sefirah Omer, that's the mitzvah that we are in the midst of doing now. Okay, and then of course we'll pause again when we get close to Shavuot. But in terms of our general studies, what I think we're going to do is after starting next week, we're going to start to work on some of the more hashkafic topics that are on the lists. Hashkafic meaning some of the Jewish thought, Jewish philosophy, Jewish views on different things, right? That are listed in a bunch of the curriculums. And once we finish that, then we will have gone through, basically, we went through davening, we went through Shabbos, we went through davening, we went through brachos, we went through Shabbos, we went through kashrus, we went through 13 principles of faith, right? So at that point, don't worry, I'm not sending anybody adrift over here. but we can go back, and I really would leave it up to you guys. Right? A number of you are nearing the end and getting ready for your final one of the final reviews. I don't know if it's called tests, but we'll call it meetings, right? So I'm open towards going back to any one of those topics that you feel. Let's go back to that. Let's go to that again. That's that's what we could really use a review on. So then I'm happy to do so. Right? You guys are coming pretty close towards the end with the RCC,
Yes.
right? I have to ask you have to send me an email, not a text.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's just my texts get buried. My email is on my computer, my desk, and then I see it, and then I sit there on my computer and I do it. The text I see at night, and then I think, and then things get snowed under. But when I saw it, I remembered that, but I didn't remember to do it. But it's got to be an email, otherwise, right? Email's number one, text number two, WhatsApp, forget about it. All right, because I need, every 3-4 days I try to dig out from WhatsApps. So anything that is, WhatsApp, yeah, it's not going to work. Okay. Yeah, so you guys are there, right? Esther,
Toward the finish line.
towards the finish line, absolutely.
We never know where the finish line is.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
And that's okay.
But we get a sense,
Yes.
right? And David and Mary, so where are you guys with Rabbi Ru at this point?
So Mary's doing tutoring on Mondays.
Good.
And then it's progressing. I think we probably in another month we'll try to schedule a meeting.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And he knows the wedding date.
Yeah, he does.
Okay,
We made it clear.
that's what's very important,
Yeah.
right? And with you guys, we'll have to have a wedding that night. Yeah. Okay.
Lots of stuff.
Nice. See that? Your kids get to go to your wedding.
I
And
know.
that's pretty special. That doesn't happen all the time. Yeah. Good. Okay, so let's talk Sefirah now. What does Sefirah mean?
To count.
Counting. Good. And we're Sfirat HaOmer, the counting of the Omer. What is the Omer?
The measure of wheat, of barley wheat.
Of barley, not wheat.
Measure of barley.
A measure of barley that was brought as an offering when?
During the first temple.
It was brought in the temple. It was brought on the day after Pesach, right? Meaning what we call the second day of Pesach, right? So this year Pesach was Wednesday night, Thursday. In Israel, Thursday night, Friday was Chol HaMoed, was not Yom Tov. It was it was an intermediary day of Pesach. So this was brought on the day after Pesach. For us, it's the second day Pesach, right? In Israel, it's Chol HaMoed, and that was brought then, and we count from that all the way until Shavuot, 49 days. And at the end of the 49 days, we have the holiday of Shavuot, which is the holiday of our receiving the Torah. When we say receiving the Torah, what don't we mean? Oh, what do we mean? And I'll see what we don't mean. What happened on Shavuot? Moshe came down with the Torah scroll and said, Amen. By the Bar Shema Moshe Lemor, Daber B'nai Yisroel. No, he did not come down with the Torah scroll. How do we know he could not have come down with the Torah scroll?
When the golden calf and everything else that was yet to happen.
Yes. Right, the Torah includes the golden calf, right? So, right, and it includes Moshe doing what with the rock? Striking the rock instead of talking to the rock. I imagine, and therefore he can't be buried in the land of Israel. I imagine had he read that, smart money says he wouldn't have hit the rock. And if Korach had read about the end of his rebellion, chances are, smart money says, he wouldn't have rebelled. And it goes on and on and on, right? So when we say we received the Torah, what is that on Shavuot? What does that mean? We received the Torah on Shavuot?
Was it the second? The second tablet?
No.
Would it just be the Aseret Hadibra?
Aseret Hadibrot. We stood at Sinai and we heard the 10 commandments. God, resounding voice, first 2. Moses then picked up on the next 8 because we were getting a little bit overwhelmed. So Shavuot, Matan Torah, was our standing by Mount Sinai. Let's get this timeline clear. After which Moses went up for the 40 days. And there was the miscalculation at the end of the 40 days because we thought he went up, that was day 1. He's coming down after 40 days, right? But the problem was a Jewish day is
It's like
night and then day. So when he went up that first day, that did not count as day 1. We panicked when he did not come down when we thought he should be coming down. We felt we needed a leader. We were adrift. We were out in the wilderness with our wives and kids, husbands and kids, old and young, in a very inhospitable wilderness. Water from a rock, thank you, Moshe, but how's that going to happen without Moshe? Man from the heavens, thank you, but what's going to happen? So then we panicked and we had the Chet HaEgel, the sin of the golden calf. What Hebrew date was that on? Fast day in the summer. 17th of Tammuz, 3 weeks before the 9th of Av. Moshe comes down, breaks the tablets. And then 40 days later, 40 days up and down, 40 days later, he goes up in order to stay another 40 days and receive the second tablets. When did he reascend to receive the 40 tablets, for the second 40 days to receive the tablets? The beginning of the month of Elul. 40 days later, he comes down with the second tablets. And here's your hint, and the message of forgiveness. What date was that he came down with the second tablets?
Yom Kippur.
Yom. Keyword forgiveness. Hint. Yom Kippur. Okay? This is look, on all of the lists, you have the Book of Our Heritage, which has a lot of amazing information. But this is the skeleton, my friends. This is the skeleton that we certainly need to know. Okay? So again, from Pesach, we count 49 days. We got to Shavuot. Okay? Again, Shavuot was standing Mount Sinai, receiving the 10 commandments. We call that Kabbalat Torah. We accepted the Torah, but it was not the Torah scroll, right? It was the teaching, right? And right, we're taught that contained in the 10 commandments are all the mitzvot on a certain level. Fair enough. 40 days later, what happens? 40 days later, what happens? We expected Moshe to come. He doesn't come. What do we
17th
do?
of
Golden calf. Moshe breaks the luchot. 17th of Tammuz. 40 days later, Moshe reascends Mount Sinai. When is that? The beginning of the month of Elul. 40 days later, Moses comes down with the second set of luchot and a message of forgiveness. Yom Kippur. Okay? 5 days later, Sukkot, we starting the building of the Mishkan and the clouds of glory return. 5 days later, the 15th of the month of Tishrei, Sukkot. Okay? That's really the sequence of the Shalosh Regalim, of the 3 pilgrimage holidays. Pesach to Shavuot, to Sukkot. Okay, so you guys been writing that down. This is the outline. Okay, this is very important to have clear. Yes.
In the back of the stone Humash that I have at home, not these, but there's a timeline. There actually are.
The stone Chumash, which you mean the stone Tanakh, which has all the books of this stone Chumash. There are different versions of it.
I think so. I think that must be a
There's some with
congregational
pictures.
version.
I want my money back.
Yeah, I know, you should get your money back because there's all kinds of graphs and pictures and charts.
We have that one too.
Yeah, so that
Oh,
timeline
cool.
is in there.
Wait, over here we also have this. Amazing. Okay. Well, very, very important. Very important. I don't see a timeline over here. Interesting. Okay, good. So we're counting from the second day of Pesach until Mount Sinai. Why are we counting? Whenever we count, what does counting do? It gives significance to each of those days. Well, why don't we start counting from Pesach? Why don't we start counting from Pesach, Passover itself? Why are we starting from the day after Pesach? Yes,
Because
but
that's what it says in the Torah.
yes, but what's under? That's it says we should count in the correct, Gabriella. The Torah tells us to count from the day after Pesach, from the day you bring the Omer. But if we're connecting Pesach to Shavuot, so the Sefer HaChinuch explains why don't we start from Pesach? We don't want to downgrade, dismiss Pesach. Pesach is Pesach in and of itself. And then we don't want to start counting from then to Shavuot. We start the day after, as the Torah tells us to. But the idea is that the two are very much linked. Pesach was our physical exodus. Shavuot is our spiritual exodus. Pesach had two stages of the physical exodus. Day 1 of Pesach, of Passover, we left Egypt. Day 7 of Passover was splitting of the sea. That was the two stages of the physical exodus, the spiritual exodus, and we needed to ascend levels in order to go from that servitude of Egypt and the crass immorality of the Egyptian society to standing by Mount Sinai. And Kabbalistically, each of these 49 days correspond to different aspects of the Sefirot. The Sefirot are the Kabbalistic emanations of God's presence in this world, the 10 Sefirot. And we're dealing with the lower 7. The top 3 are above and beyond. We're dealing with the lower 7. And that's why when we're counting Sefirah, there is a Kabbalistic prayer to say that mentions the Kabbalistic aspect of each day. Each of the 7 Sefirot have each of its own levels, right? If you've got 1 through 7, so you have 1, 1, and then 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7. Oh, now I'm ready to reach level 2. 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7, up to 3. And that's how we are building up. And the Lunch and Learn this week is going to be dealing with Sefirah and with that Kabbalistic aspect, as Cheryl asked me to do this morning. Okay, don't worry. You can take care of your dishes. I just said that. Now she closed the camera. Caught you doing dishes. Okay, I'm kidding. It's all good, Cheryl. Glad to have you with us. Good. Okay. So every night there is a blessing that we say. Actually, an interesting halakha question comes up if someone were to convert during Sefirah, or if someone becomes bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah during Sefirah. Okay? The interesting halakha that comes up, and I'm going to make it a little bit shorter tonight. I have a bit of a headache, So we'll do Sefirah, and then I'm going to need to head home and take some aspirin and get a little head rest. Okay, so there is a blessing that we say every night. Now, there are two ways, there are two different halachic opinions as to this Sefirah. Certain mitzvot are a package deal. For example, Sukkot, we take our lulav and etrog. Lulav, right, the palm branch, and we have the myrtles, and we have the hadassim and the aravot, myrtles and hadassim. Get the English words.
Myrtle,
Hadassim and aravos and the etrog. Okay. Let's say I can't get one of the, and it's one of the little ones, the leaves on the side. I have a lulav, I have an etrog, I have my aravos. I can't find hadassim. 3 out of 4 ain't bad, right? Wrong. It's a mitzvah to take those 4 items. There is no mitzvah to take 3 or 2 or 1 of them. No mitzvah whatsoever. Right? Tzitzit. So I need to have these tzitzit on the 4 corners of my garment. Okay, let's say I can only get it on 3. Mitzvah? No. On the contrary. Aveira, transgression. Because don't wear a 4-cornered garment. They used to have 4-cornered garments that they had to put tzitzit on them. We don't normally wear 4-cornered garments. We specifically get ourselves a 4-cornered garment to fulfill the mitzvah. But 3 out of 4 tzitzit? Bad. Don't do it. On the other hand, if I didn't wear tefillin today, now it's too late, it's nighttime. What do I do tomorrow? I wear my tefillin. The fact that I missed 1 day of tefillin, okay, you don't want to miss any days of tefillin. But that doesn't negate another day, another day, another day. I desecrated this Shabbos. What do I do next Shabbos? Don't desecrate it, right? I didn't eat in the sukkah this night. What do I do the next night? Eat in the sukkah. So where does Sfirat HaOmer fit into those 2 different metrics? That's the question. Do we say that it is one mitzvah of 49 components?
Oh.
Or do we say it's 49 separate mitzvot?
Separate mitzvot.
49 7.
You think it's separate, you think it's both. Well, the halacha is a combination of the 2. Okay. Meaning, if I completely missed a day, I did not, right? Ideally, we count at night. Tonight, we counted the 13th day of the Omer. If I didn't count tonight, then I could count the entire day tomorrow, albeit without a blessing. But I can count the entire day tomorrow. If I did not count the entire day, not tonight, not tomorrow, I completely missed a day, or I did a mistaken count and didn't correct it, and now I realize the next night, someone from the shul came to me, oh, Rabbi, I realize now that last night I counted the wrong night, right? So that's a whole day without counting. So at that point, one does not continue to count subsequent nights with a bracha, but one will continue to count subsequent nights, albeit without a bracha, without a blessing. And let's understand, in case the opinion that says it's 49 individual packets, 49 individual mitzvot, so the fact that I missed 12, I'll still count 13. But taking into account the opinion that it's one mitzvah, 49 parts, When I count subsequent nights, I'll do it without a bracha. Okay? Because according to that opinion, it'll be a blessing in vain. The same way, if I pick up my lulav etrog and hadassim and nadarava, my 3 out of the 4 minim, and I make a bracha of al natilat lulav, it's a blessing in vain. Because that's not the mitzvah. So too, according to that opinion, that it's one mitzvah of 49 components, it'll be a blessing in vain to make a blessing. But nevertheless, according to the one who says it's each individual mitzvah, so I'll count. Ideally, we count with a blessing. Even if I count it without a blessing, it'll still be, I still fulfill the mitzvah. Okay? I'll still fulfill the mitzvah without making a blessing. So that way I'm covering both of those opinions. I continue counting subsequent nights because maybe it's 49 individual mitzvot. But I'll do it without a bracha because maybe it's one mitzvah with 49 different slots to it, 49 points. Okay. The whole idea is that we're counting, right? So we're familiar with the countdown, right? And I think SpaceX did not send up their thing they were thinking of doing yesterday. I think they didn't do it. A frozen valve. I'm glad they figured that out while it was still down over here. One of my rabbis would tell the story of an airport, and they announce flight has been canceled, and everyone's like, oh, and this one guy goes, fantastic, right? And then they, it'll be delayed for an hour. Fantastic. It's been canceled. Everyone's cursing. This guy going, fantastic. There's Texan over there. So finally someone says to him, tell me, what's fantastic about our flight getting canceled? And he said, well, obviously there's something wrong with that airplane. I'm glad they figured it out when I'm down here on Mother Earth and not when I'm up in a tin can, 30,000 feet up in the sky in a tin can. I'm glad they discovered it now. Why am I telling you that story? What was I saying before that? There was a reason I said this.
SpaceX.
Oh, fantastic. They realized they had a frozen valve and they decided not to send, a couple of $1 billion worth of investment, and maybe were the people on it was supposed to go on this? Unmanned. Okay. Unpersoned. Right. Unpersoned. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But why did I mention SpaceX? Oh, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. So why are we counting down to Shavuot? Right? We're counting up. Last night was 12. Tonight was counted 13. Tomorrow night we'll count 14. Why are we counting up instead of counting down?
To give us something to look forward to.
Going to a higher level.
Okay, so anticipation. I think there's great anticipation. 10, 9, right? The ball's about to fall in Times Square. 7, 6, 5, 4, right? Right. If we count down, what do we have at the end? Nada. Nothing at all. Right? We're not counting down to nothing. We need to be building up to readiness for Shavuot. Yes.
So that is the fundamental meaning of counting up, right? And so back to your previous conversation about whether do the blessings or not. If every day is a rectification of a certain aspect of our neshama to help elevate ourselves, climb the ladder, and the purpose of a blessing is to connect the mitzvah to God. I mean, the mitzvah is to rectify, is for us to go on that journey, and the blessing is a connection, and the mitzvah is, by definition, I think, a connection to us trying to connect to God. The blessing helps us connect to God. I don't quite understand the circumstance where we wouldn't want to, if we authentically, missed the opportunity to do a blessing, why we wouldn't want, since the mission of this launch is to connect to God, why don't we want to do the blessing?
So yes, we want to do the blessing. The question is, can we do the blessing? Meaning, yes, each day is a build up, right? And another step up in the ladder. right? Is the mitzvah the ladder, or is the mitzvah the step?
We're saying it's the steps.
We're not clear, right? Yes, it's steps up, but is the mitzvah the ladder of 49 steps, as the mitzvah is the 4 minim, right? Each one represents what it represents. Each one is important,
Yes.
right? So if I don't have one, let me at least do the 3, right? So is the mitzvah the ladder comprised of those 4? It's more of a technical question, not this philosophical question, right? Is the mitzvah a ladder of 49 individual steps, or is the mitzvah step, 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 step? And that's what will determine the technical aspect of making the brachot or not.
Mitzvah is for, I believe, or not I believe, but my supposition, I should say, is that for us to be on that journey and get to that destination.
Correct.
And
technically, is that one mitzvah of a ladder? Is it a mitzvah of a staircase? Or is each step its own individualized mitzvah? When the Torah says, count the 49 days, 7 weeks, is the mitzvah the Torah giving us a staircase mitzvah of 49 steps of getting closer to God? Or is the mitzvah, 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 mitzvah 49 times? That's the question. Either way, each one is meant to be a meaningful step on the way up. But is the mitzvah the staircase?
I agree with you, but I'm just saying that the blessing is fundamental to our ability to connect.
No, the blessing is not fundamental. One fulfills the mitzvah even without a blessing, right? The blessing concentrates, elevates it, but it's not an essential component of the mitzvah. One would fulfill the mitzvah fully, counting 49 nights without ever making a bracha. They'll be missing out, but they will fulfill the mitzvah without that. Okay. We count the 49 days, so we're counting it from the barley offering, and then on Shavuot, we bring, very unusual to be brought upon the altar, we bring a chametz, shtei halechem, 2 loaves of chametz, of leavened bread, up onto the altar. We don't, right? There's rarely chametz. I think that's the only chametz that goes actually up onto the altar. So what is the idea of this barley to wheat transition? So barley is considered to be a lower level, more like animal food. Wheat is considered to be elevated human food. The idea of Shavuot, the idea of this, and I mentioned before that Pesach is the physical exodus and Shavuot is the spiritual exodus. The days of Sefirah are compared to a Chol HaMoed, to interim days. It's like Pesach is the first days of the holiday. Shavuot is the last days of the holiday. And what do you have in between? The counting of Sefirah, almost like intermediary days of the holiday. So we are meant to transition from people who live their life, I don't want to say in an animalistic way, but there's a story, a joke story told of 2 guys, and 2 guys who close buddies since they're young. Now they're both older men, and they make up whoever dies first is going to come back to the other one in a dream and tell them about the afterlife. And one of them dies first and comes back to his buddy in a dream, and he says, "Let me tell you, right? It's amazing. I eat whenever I want to eat. I sleep whenever I want to sleep. And his buddy says, oh, well, that's the afterlife? That's heaven? And he says, no, I came back as a cow in Omaha, right? So there's got to be more to life than eating when I want to eat and sleeping when I want to sleep, right? So the spiritual component of our life is what elevates, right? You know, animals, what do? They eat and they procreate. That's what an animal does. I think we discussed before by the prohibition of eating milk and meat together. So Rav Hirsch explains very beautifully. What does a plant do? What's the aspiration of a plant?
To grow.
Nutrition and procreation. That's a plant, right? Along comes an animal. Now it has the ability to move from place to place. And what does it use that ability to do? To eat, nutrition, and procreation. So basically, what is the animal? It is a mobile plant, right? When it comes to purpose in life, it's a mobile plant. Okay. Now, if we're going to look at mobility, what gives us mobility? Which part of our body gives us mobility? Muscles. Muscles is what allows us to move, right? What is muscle? Basar, right? Meat. That's what muscle is, meat. If we're going to look at a food that will represent procreation, a food that will represent procreation, that would be milk, because that's what the newborn is sustained by, right? It's not the cow milk in our cereal, right? It's the mother's milk. That's so milk and meat represent procreation and mobility. We separate the two, Rav Hirsch explains. We don't want to be simply mobile plants. We don't want to be all about mobility in order to get our procreation and our nutrition, right? Actually, nutrition and procreation, that's what milk best represents. The combination of nutrition and procreation, right? That is milk, which gives nutrition after procreation, right? And mobility is muscle. Okay. So we don't want to be like the cows in Omaha, that our whole purpose is eat, sleep, procreate. That's not what it's meant to be. That's representative of the barley. So we need to climb this ladder step by step until we get to the point of chita, of the offering brought with wheat, of a refined human food. We need to become refined spiritual beings. But one last thought to share. We just blasted chametz. Chametz, that's laziness. Chametz is haughtiness, right? What's the difference between chametz and matzah? A lot of hot air. That's what it is. It's haughtiness. It's rising up. So why is it okay on Shavuot?
Because we've raised our level, we've elevated.
Okay, nice, Esther. We've elevated ourselves.
It's in service of God at that point.
Okay, Marty, nice. It's in the service of God.
Previously, it was presumably either an obstacle or in the service of.
Okay, And one key component is what happens on Shavuot. What did we receive? That, you know what I say when I say the Torah, you know what I mean, what I don't mean. Right? We received the Torah. The Torah is what allows us, gives us the guide to utilize this beautiful world in a spiritual way. We've mentioned a number of times Judaism, not like Catholicism, Christianity, where the physical is a physical, intimate relationship is for the weak, but the real holy people are the priests and the nuns. We say that is, nonsense. We say God created us as human beings, right? So we don't shut down that part of ourselves. We guide it. We shape it in the context of a marriage, in a respectful, modest manner. So the Torah is what allows us to exist, function, live in this world, be involved in this world in a holy fashion. So we can have that chametz, we can have that involvement in this world, and that itself becomes holy and goes up onto an altar. That itself becomes kadosh. Islam will say any alcoholic beverages prohibited. We make our kiddush on wine. We involve ourselves in, and herein lies a fundamental difference between Judaism and the other monotheistic religions. It's not abstinence that makes holiness. It's involvement in this world in a holy fashion, in an uplifted, godly fashion. With the Torah, we can get from the matzah to the chametz and keep it holy. That is what we are working our way towards, my friends. Okay, like I said, I'm going to call it now. Actually, it's almost an hour anyhow. Okay, get some Tylenol and get some sleep. Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, good night, good night.